Liverpool 3, Manchester United 0, and although it's a pre-season game, a 3-0 loss, particularly to Liverpool, it's not something you want to see. Now, good to be honest with you, 3-0 is an incredibly flattering scoreline to Liverpool. They were not at their best, and while they're not at their best and they still beat us 3-0 and they still destroyed our defence, there was some positive signs from United. I'm not looking at this game thinking, oh, we're absolutely done, we're absolutely finished. People are panicking saying, end the season now. I mean, every time we get another injury, because we're averaging 2 injuries a game in pre-season, I'm thinking end the season now, but this performance didn't make me particularly concerned, assuming we signed the Ligt. The title will be Man United go and sign the Ligt of this video, because Liverpool cooked us in defence. Liverpool cooked our back four, but none of that back four should hopefully be starting any of the games sort of at the beginning of next season, so it shouldn't be a big issue. Man United need to go and sign the Ligt. Man United need to go and sign a Yusuf Fofana type player. Man United need, for me, a midfield signing. If Man United do not sign a midfielder, I will be worried. If Man United do not sign the Ligt, I'll be worried. But if Man United sign the Ligt, and Man United sign a midfielder, and Man United can keep, injury problems at a good level, I'm not worried. Okay? Because look, 18 shots to their 8 shots on target to their 5. We had a little bit less possession. Liverpool were the better team quality-wise when it came to the final third decision-making. They took their chances. We didn't. That's why they won 3-0. It's not an area of mass concern. It is they got better players, they took better chances, they were better in the final third, and that's why they won the game. We need a midfield, it's very obvious. We need defenders, it's very obvious, and Liverpool cooked our defence. It's very true. The biggest problem, though, was injuries. If Wan-Bissaka is injured, that changes some of our transfer plans. If we're getting news and confirmation that Amass deal's been finalised, he's still a buyer now, but he's been given permission on Tuesday to fly up to Manchester for his medical, because there's an expectation that Wan-Bissaka to West Ham will be done. Why is Wan-Bissaka playing in the 82nd minute? Okay, play him the first half. Why are we playing him nearly the full game? If he's this close to leaving, if he's this close to being finalised as a West Ham player and risking an injury. Because if Wan-Bissaka gets injured, the Mazraoui deal was off, and the Mazraoui's is sorted. Mazraoui, if all goes to plan, and that was said, if all goes to plan, we'll be going for his Man United medical, and Ligt could be part of that deal. Now, Mazraoui might not be going for Man United medical, because if Wan-Bissaka's injured and all doesn't go to plan, West Ham will not sign Wan-Bissaka. So why on earth Erik ten Hag's playing Wan-Bissaka I thought was weird to begin with, but particularly not subbing off at half time with the other key players. I mean, we're averaging 2 injuries a game. Will Fish injury looks awful. Wan-Bissaka, Rashford and Anthony the last game, although they were fit to play this game, and then Højlund and Yora in the first game. But look, I'm hoping that it's just a precaution and it's nothing serious. But if Wan-Bissaka's injured, a deal for Mazraoui that was 99% done, isn't done, and that's on us. That's on us completely. And I don't think that would affect the De Ligt deal, but you never know. And now let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the performance, because it was defensively bad, but these guys won't start soon. Harry Amass is a great young player, didn't have a particularly poor game, either did Wan-Bissaka, but Harry Amass will be moulded in over time, and Wan-Bissaka, yeah, he's probably going to go. But Lindelof and Evans were poor. I like Johnny Evans, but him and Lindelof aren't good enough to start for Manchester United, let's be totally honest. And instead of bringing Johnny Evans back, I think he's good to come back as a fifth choice centre-back for the dressing room if he's on low wages. We do need to sign a second centre-back. As Dylan said, it's worth remembering that none of United's ideal back four are currently available. The front six look good. Casemiro is the exception and carrying out instructions, but the back four is panicking. When the initial flash is spoken, we followed ten Hag's instructions. We had a good pattern to play the front six bar Casemiro. It is the back four that caused problems. The back four, it wasn't good enough. As soon as the initial press was broken, they struggled. Lindelof isn't good enough. He needs to be sold. Johnny Evans, well, he's a fifth choice centre-back in emergencies. This guy we need to sign, because letting Rafael Varane walk for free, I just think was a silly decision. I know Rafael Varane's on high wages, I know he's injury prone, but Casemiro had a bad season last year. I understand trying to sell Casemiro. He's on more wages than Varane. He's had a bad season. Rafael Varane had a very good season when he played last season. He is injury prone, but he had a good season when he played. He was our best centre-back. We need De Ligt because, like Rafael Varane, he is a good box defender. He's aerially dominant. We need him just purely for depth, experience, leadership, because Lindelof is not good enough. And with Martinez not being the best in the air, you pair him with Lindelof, but that's pathetically weak. That's a problem. You need Matthijs De Ligt, and you need him now. I know he's an injury-prone centre-back, but Man United need to go out there. They need to sign Matthijs De Ligt. They need to sign Matthijs De Ligt. And I want to say Agate, because I think out possession Agate helps. But if I'm going to be totally honest, I think Yusuf Fofana would be a better blend for us than Agate. Diving into the next bit, I saw a lot of people saying Sancho was bad and Sancho was poor, but I think a lot of people misinterpreted Sancho's role. Sancho was nothing special, but I think he showed elements of what Xerxes was going to bring Manchester United, and I think the Muppeteers sum this up well. The little things Sancho does in the false nine have a much bigger impact on freeing up space for the wide forwards and helping us get possession into the final third. Xerxes is going to do really, really well there. Sancho pressed well and linked up with players, likely the role of Xerxes. So I'm going to be honest, I thought Sancho did fine. I think he linked up well, he dropped deep well. I think what he was doing off the ball in terms of freeing out space, I think a lot of people maybe didn't think that Sancho had a good game because they're not realising that his work rate and pressing off the ball and his intellectual movement was really good. And I think this is elements of what Xerxes will bring, and I also think it helps bring out the best in Rashford. I thought Sancho showed good elements. This was my general review of the first half because I'm focusing these reviews on the first half where it's not really full of academy players. Both goals came from individual errors in the first half. Obviously, we ended up losing 3-0. So I don't think we can be too mad. We did it to ourselves, individual errors. I think there was positives. I thought we looked in control of the game with the narrow press, working well at the start of the game. That we were actually the better team in the first half. I know we were 2-0 down, but we actually were the better team. Liverpool were struggling a little bit in midfield. Obviously, they didn't have their natural DM in, and Curtis Jones was taking off touch of the ball, but the narrow press was causing them problems in build-up. And, we had more chances, but we weren't clinical in attack. We just lacked there as well. But I thought, we did a good job on the ball and going forward, but I think just defence let us down. And I think at elements we struggled with build-up. I think Casemiro and Collyer, I like Collyer, a good player, but in terms of progression, there was elements of struggles there, which obviously will be improved with key players back. But the 4-2-4 pressed well. It did cause Liverpool issues. We used the space out wide well in attack. We had a high midfield man marking, which I think Curtis Jones struggled with particularly. We had the better chances. We didn't take them. There was build-up issues, but that could be solved with new signings. Martin has shown Maynard, Shaw, Delo, all coming back in as well. Now, I think Toby Collyer had a good game. I think he was very good, particularly out of possession. Definitely needs to improve in terms of progression and improve in possession and ball progression and build up, but I think he can be developed into a player that's good at that. He's not the level of Maynard was last season and pre-season, but he can really be developed in a key player for United. I think his ground coverage and work rate was really good. I think he outshined Casemiro again, and he's a ground eater. I think another pre-season game where Collyer has outshined Casemiro. Now, obviously, he's not the best in possession, and he has been compared to McTominay, but I think Academy Scoop sums this up well. I don't subscribe to the view that Collyer is simply another McTominay based on his some rawness in possession. For a start, McTominay is coming up to 28 years old. He's had years to work on the deficiencies on the ball and evidently doesn't have the season to do so. Collyer has already shown technical aptitude in the academy football that will no doubt come to life when he fully accumulates to the men's game, particularly in his passing, but also his abilities to retain possession and evade pressure. Unlike McTominay, Toby has years ahead of him to develop in this aspect. He's already far better at receiving on the half turn and much better progressive carry than McTominay. Toby is also immeasurably more intelligent in his movement out possession and brings far more value to cohesion to United's pressing efforts. Most importantly, when McTominay hides from the ball in possession, Collyer seeks it out. Despite knowing his technical side isn't fully there yet, fully refined, it's his bravery and desire to improve tells me everything I need to know about his future relative to McTominay. And I think he's spot on. Yeah, he's not the best on the ball, but he demands the ball. He wants to improve. He can improve. He very much reminds me of Declan Rice, who's now better on the ball. I thought Rashford was our best player in the first half. He tracked back and committed to the press well. I think one thing I noticed from the wingers is they were really tracking back, which is an issue people had with Rashford last season. He looked sharp. He looked on it. He was trying to make things happen. I remember the corner. He took it on the little turd and almost scored a good goal. Some really good switches to play out wide, particularly to Amass, Wan-Bissaka. Caused Kwanzaa and Bradley issues, and he's just been consistently quite good and quite bright this pre-season. Maybe not going to the Euros has kept him sharp, and I think him and Ahmad on the wings bring good balance. Casemiro was, awful for the first goal, completely looked out of it, all over the place. I thought he looked better against, was it Betis? I thought he was right against Betis, but wow, Casemiro was poor today, really, really poor. I do have concerns about him. He's not going to go. I don't know how we're going to bring the best out of him, but he's all over the place. He's rash. He's a little bit everywhere. Honestly, wasn't a good game from Casemiro. And then finally, good spells from Amass. He will learn from these 3 games. Salah's a tough opponent. Mount showed glimpses to begin with, but I think his pressing and movement was good, but I just think the depth is not good enough and we need to sign players. And lastly, we missed Bruno. Liverpool won the game because they're better in the final third. They had the extra quality in the final third. They took the chances, and our best guy in the final third at making things happen, Bruno, wasn't there. So that is my review of the game. It's a 3-0 loss. It's not the end of the world though. Just go and sign the Ligt. Thank you for watching. Bye.